before my wife and I moved to South Africa, of course, we came to South Africa as tourists. And our first trip was 2005, and of course, we did the whole touristy trip. And that's where we fell in love with this country, and that's the reason why we moved here. Now, one of the areas where we went to, of course, was going to Boulders Beach and see the little penguins walking around there. And it was the first time for me to see penguins in their real kind of natural habitats. And I looked at them and I thought, well, they are funny, and they are deemed to be birds, but if you look at them, they have a very odd body shape, and I mean, the wings are too small to fly. What kind of bird can that be? And someone forgot to put knees into their legs. So that's a faulty design, I would say. And then I thought about the eagles that I saw in Africa, this beautiful, this king of the air. And if you compare, both are birds. But, I mean, this one, can you consider that one as a bird? And, yeah, that was my conclusion, that, well, this is a faulty design. This penguin is not really a bird. A little bit later, I learned that that might not be the full story. If you look at the penguin when he goes into the water, the whole situation changes. With his odd body figure, he's perfectly made for swimming and diving. He can travel with the equivalent of 1 liter of petrol for 1,500 kilometers. I still have not seen a human-engineered car traveling 1,500 kilometers with 1 liter of petrol. That's how energy efficient they are. And they are not only long-distance swimmers, they are also very quick and very fast. The world record swimmer, the sprinter, a human being, the world record swimmer, can swim 9 kilometers per hour. That's the maximum speed for 50 meters. The slowest penguin travels at the speed of 11 kilometers per hour. The fastest ones go up to 30 kilometers per hour. That's not bad for a faulty design. And actually, I learned that sometimes penguins do fly. Do you know that? When they are trying to escape a predator, sooner or later they need to breathe. And they cannot breathe under the water. So they need to go upstairs. Not upstairs, they need to go to the air. But they cannot stop the chase and then breathe and then they chase again. No. They do that at high speed. They jump out of the water. That's when this little penguin can fly and he can breathe. And this is also very smart because the moment he's out of the sea, the predator can't see him anymore. And the moment he's getting back into the water, he changes direction and it's getting even harder for the predator. Not bad for a faulty design. And then that got me thinking. I thought, well, if you take an eagle and put this king of the air, who's also a bird like a penguin, into the same environment, I mean, he might catch some fish, but sooner or later he's going to die. And he will never escape a predator underwater. Now, this really got me thinking. And it got me thinking that maybe there was something wrong in how I saw the situation. And what I learned, that I judged this little penguin from the first instance when I saw him. And this judgment was kind of final. I thought, well, faulty design. Then I got new information. Then I learned more. And then I learned that he has capabilities, but these capabilities can only be used in the right environment. If you take an eagle and put him into the environment of a penguin, let's say take him to Arctica, well, these guys really live, minus 50 degrees centigrade. I mean, an eagle will have a hard time surviving there. He will not survive. The penguin will. Both are birds. So I learned that capabilities and circumstances, somehow they need to match with each other. Now, this might be an interesting learning for me, but what does it have to do with leadership? Well, this story, this experience came in handy while I was working with one of my top executives as his executive coach. And he told me We are working for a while already. He's a top executive, and he worked for large corporates all over the world. And he's now in a new function for a couple of months with 60 people, and we are working for a while. And then he said, Axel, do you think I'm a good leader? Now, if I would have been a young coach when I started coaching, I might have told him, yes, you are a great leader. Because, I mean, as coaches, we learn that we should support our coachees, that we should support their self-esteem. Now, this is what I did not do. And I told him something else. I did what coaches do best. When they get a question, they answer with another question. And I told him, well, what would that answer mean to you? And he said, that's interesting. Well, if he would say, yes, I'm a good leader, then I might feel great until tomorrow. And tomorrow I will question myself again and not sure if I'm a good leader or not. If you'd say no, well, then it would devastate me, but tomorrow morning I would think I will handle it and it doesn't matter. So actually, I don't think it makes any sense to ask you that question. I said, okay, interesting. And then we continued with our coaching. And then he said, you know, with the people that I'm working with, it's weird. I got 60 people. They are all working in the same environment, all in the same department. They seem to know the same stuff. They are there for a long time, and then I joined them, and it's weird. There's a group of people I simply cannot work with. I have people, they are great. They are just like me. They share the same values, the same work ethic. It's easy to work with them. When I work with them, when I say we have to do this and that, then we go into discussions. I'll listen to them. I share my opinion. I tell them why I made specific decisions. And there's another group, well, they are just fine. And the third group, these are the ones that are kind of the troublemakers for me. They are odd. They have different opinions. And I think, you know, one of my biggest and my highest value is respect. And I think they don't respect me. And yeah, I'm struggling with that. So, okay, that's interesting. I thought maybe a little story would help him. So I told him the story, my experience with this penguin. And then I added something. Then I said, well, let's just assume there would be this colony of penguins at Boulders Beach, and a little eagle would drop out of his nest into that area and into that colony of penguins. And I mean, penguins are not human beings, so most likely they will not bully that little eagle. They would rather pick him up and say, okay, you can live with us. And this little eagle would start living together with the other little penguins, I told him. And he would just do fine. He would dig around in the sand. That would be perfect. But then this little eagle would go into the sea with his other friends, with his family, because he would think he's a penguin as well. Because how can you know that he's an eagle? So he would go swimming with them, and the other penguins would swim around, and he would struggle very much. And he would struggle that much, he would think, I'm a bad penguin. I'm not worth it. And maybe he would go out at night when the others are sleeping and try to improve his swimming. Because he thinks, well, I'm a penguin, I need to be able to swim. But he could never keep up. So he would continue, and his self-confidence would go down. And then he would get out and he would try to live with the other penguins, but he wouldn't feel really well. And that's how I ended that story. And then my executive told me, you know, that's exactly what's happening here. You look, the people I'm dealing with, you see, I consider myself an eagle. And the ones I'm working with pretty well, they are eagles as well. But the others, they are different, they are strange, they have different opinions, and they are working differently, just like these penguins. And I cannot handle that. But actually, you know, what I learned now is, well, if I'm an eagle and they are penguins, when I came into my position, I thought everyone is the same because they are all working in the same department. And That was my judgment, that they are all the same, but they behave differently. And so I treated them differently. And the ones that I'm struggling with are simply the penguins. But I made my judgment immediately and figured out they are somehow wrong because I am right, I'm the leader. But now, through that story, I learned that I did judge them, and I never really looked at what they are really capable of. I know what eagles can do, but I have no idea what these penguins can do. So this brings me to an even further and more important point. You know, I did ask you if I'm a good leader or not. And I'm asking you that, and I did ask you because I have self-doubts. And what I realized just through our conversation is that, well, I did not treat these penguins, these other people, with respect. So I violated my highest value, and I somehow felt it, but I didn't know that it was me. I thought they are wrong, and something is wrong with them. But now I learned that I always had this inner conflict because I treated them not with respect. And so this inner conflict made me aware of that something is wrong, and that's why I was asking myself all the time if I'm a good leader, because I'm good with my eagles, but very bad with the penguins. So this really brings me to the conclusion that I shouldn't judge as fast as I do. I should figure out what the real capabilities of people are I'm working with. And if they are in the wrong environment, or I put them in the wrong environment, then I need to change that. And the third and most important lesson for me, he said, is that when I feel that something is wrong, when I doubt myself as a leader, and I think the others are wrong, I should stop thinking that and start looking and listening to myself and figure out where's this conflict coming from. Because if I want to be a great leader, it can only work if I don't judge that fast, if I look at the real capabilities of my people, and if I lead from within and stay true to myself. Thank you very much.